Hello guys, welcome to my channel. In this video, we are going to discuss about Azure Data Factory. We will be creating the Azure Data Factory in Microsoft Azure. We will understand all the properties, how we can set up that, and we will also integrate our Azure Data Factory with CI/CD tools like GitHub and Azure DevOps. We generally can integrate Git directly with Data Factory, so we will see that in this video. After this video, in some another video, we'll also integrate CI/CD pipelines with Data Factory. We will be able to clone the repository, we will be able to make the changes, and we'll be able to push our changes after building the artifact directly inside Azure Data Factory. So we will be creating pipelines for that as well. There are multiple ways where you can build the CI/CD pipelines. So we'll be discussing in that video. Okay, let's now start this video where we'll be creating the data factory and adding the Git configuration like Azure DevOps and GitHub. Okay, here I am in my Microsoft Azure portal. To create a data factory, simply search the data factory at the top. You'll be getting this data factory, open it and click on create. If you don't know anything about data factory, if you are totally new to it, you can go ahead and refer this documentation, official documentation by Microsoft. This is nothing but a managed cloud service where you can create the data, you can copy the data, or you can basically manage all kinds of data inside your Azure Data Factory. You can go through all this documentation and you'll be able to understand many things about it. Okay, let's now create it. Even here you can see integrate data silos with Azure Data Factory, a service built for all data integration needs and skill levels. Easily construct ETL and ELT process code free within the intuitive visual environment. Okay, let's now click on create data factory. This will take you to the basic screen where you will have to just simply add the basic details about your data factory. Okay, let's create one resource group first. Suppose this is my resource group where my data factory will be there. Add the data factory name, something like this. Select the region and select your data factory version. Let's change the name. It is saying it is already taken. Okay, after selecting region and all, just click on next. Here you get an option to configure the Git. Generally the default is selected like configure Git later, but if you want to configure your Git configuration even now, you can do that by unselecting it. If you unselect it, you get the option to select either that is Azure DevOps or GitHub. Okay, if you are selecting Azure DevOps, you will have to enter the Azure DevOps related like a Azure DevOps account, project name, repository name, branch name, and root folder. Okay, you can integrate Azure repository with the data factory. If you want to integrate GitHub, you'll have to connect your GitHub account, specify your repository name, branch name, and root folder. Okay, but let's not do this. We'll be doing it after creating the data factory. Okay, click on next for networking. Here you can manage networking related to your data factory. Okay, and if you want to connect this data factory via public endpoint or private endpoint, You can do everything here. If your requirement is to create a data factory with private endpoint so that here this is not exposed to public and all your data goes via this private endpoint from your virtual network or to your virtual network, then you can go ahead and set up the private endpoint for this data factory. Select private endpoint here and you can click on this create a private endpoint so that you'll be able to communicate with this private endpoint with other different Azure services. Okay, you'll have to enter all the details like subnets, virtual network, location, name, and all. And after doing this, you'll be able to create the private endpoint. I have already made a videos about this private endpoint, how we can set up that. If you need more details, please go and watch that. Here, let's select the public endpoint and click on next. In advance, if you want to enable encryption using your key or customer managed key, you can say, you can select it and you can specify your key here. Okay, or if you don't want to enable it, if you want to use Microsoft managed keys, you can keep this as default. You can click on next. You'll have option to add the tags. If you have to add it, you can add, otherwise you can leave it for now. Click on next. It will run the validation. You can review the details which you have entered to create your data factory like subscription resource group, and you can click on create to create the data factory. This will submit the deployment and try to create it. It will take some time to create, so let's meet after this deployment is complete. Okay, it's done already, so let's now click on go to resource. So this will take you to the data factory. You can see this is our data factory. Type is data factory v2. Location, if you click on setting, you'll get all the things related to networking. If you want to change the networking or uh, create your private endpoints, you can come here and create it. Okay, you'll be able to see your managed identity here. If you have enabled managed identity, you can see if you have assigned user assigned identity, you will be able to see here. Properties, you will be able to see. If you want to set up monitoring for your data factory, you can do that as well. By going into this monitoring section, you can create alert rules. You can see the metrics. You'll be able to see this diagnostic settings. You'll be able to create the diagnostic settings, and if you have Custo queries to see your data factory logs, you'll be able to see that as well from here. Okay, if you need automation, of course you can do it from here. Okay, so the main thing here is now the data factory uh, studio. You'll have to do everything from this studio, so let's click on launch studio and it will take you to the data factory studio. Here you will have to, you can see all your pipelines. You will be able to see your git configuration and all. You'll be able to see everything whatever you can do in data factory directly inside your data factory studio. Okay, so here is the main page. It is saying Azure Data Factory allows you to configure a Git repository either with Azure DevOps or GitHub. You can directly set up the code repository here. If you click on it, It is asking to set the repository type. Simply select the repository. Let me select the Azure DevOps Git. If you have the GitHub repository, you can do that as well. Okay. Select your cloud. Where is your repository type? Just select your Microsoft Entra ID from here. Click on continue, and it is asking you to select the DevOps organization and project name. So let's select everything, and you have finally the repository as well. So I don't have a repository related to this data factory, but let me select anyone and try. Suppose let's select this test edu. You can select this collaboration branch and publish branch as well, so that whatever you create pull request from this branch or to this branch, everything will be published. You will be able to publish your changes in the data factory from this adf underscore publish branch. Okay, this is the default branch. You can change it as well. Even in collaboration branch, you can change it. You can change the root folder as well. Now let's click on apply. This will add your Azure DevOps repository configuration in directly in the Azure Data Factory. So you'll be able to manage your Azure repository directly even from the Data Factory, or you'll be able to implement the CI/CD pipelines. Okay, let's expand it, and you'll be able to see this home screen, and you'll be able to see other things as well. If you click on author, you'll be able to see everything here, like you'll be able to see your pipelines, you'll be able to see your data sets, data flows. Since we don't have anything, this is just a blank data factory, you are not getting anything here. Okay, here is your repository. At this moment my main branch is checked out. You can check your other branch as well. Suppose you can check or create a feature branch as well. After making changes, you can validate all and publish directly from here, so that all the changes will be published in that particular branch. Okay, if you have pipelines, data sets and all inside your branch in this repository, all will be coming here. You will be able to see everything directly inside this repository in your Azure Data Factory. If you click on plus sign, you'll be able to create the pipelines as well from here as well, directly from this plus sign. If you click on it, you get all the options like what you want to create. If you want to create the data set, data flow, Power Query, or event pipelines, you can create it directly from here. Okay, once created, you can run all the pipelines. You can save this as template, validate and debug as well. Okay, if we will be discussing in detail about all of these things once we go further ahead in data factory tutorials. Okay, after creating all those CI/CD tutorials, we'll be seeing everything about data factory as well. Okay, in this author section, if you go to monitor section, you'll be able to see all your pipeline runs, pipeline logs directly here in this monitor section. You will be able to see your trigger runs as well. Okay, and all things like alerts and metrics, integration runtimes and all inside this monitor section. If you want to change something, if you want to change factory setting, you can do that. If you want to create linked service or make changes in your linked service, you can create it. Okay, linked service are nothing but services which you create to attach inside your pipelines. Okay, you will be able to create your integration runtimes and directly from the manage. If you have to manage your data factory using Git source control, you can do this from the Git configuration. See, we have already configured this Azure DevOps repository. That's why this is coming as configured already. Okay, here you can export the ARM template to deploy this data factory from CI/CD pipeline, or even import this data factory or import ARM template directly even here as well. Okay, you'll be able to see everything like triggers, global parameters. You'll be able to see that. You'll be able to create that even here. You'll be able to create the credentials as well in the portal. Okay, you'll have to, if you want more things like settings as well, you'll be able to manage the settings directly from this manage section. All the settings related to your Azure Data Factory, like linked service, Git configurations, triggers, global parameters, everything you will have to do and change directly from here. Once this everything is done, you can validate all, save all, and you can publish it so that this everything will be published inside your main branch. Okay, if you click on publish, you can see successfully saved in the Git repository. Okay, there is some error because we have not created these pipelines. We will have to remove it. This is not correct. That's why this is failing to publish publish it. Once everything is okay, it will go ahead and publish all the changes inside your data factory. Okay, so that's it from this video. We have seen how we can set up the data factory, how we can integrate Git configurations like GitHub or Azure DevOps repository inside your Azure Data Factory, how we can manage all the settings by going into this manage section in your data factory. That's it from this video. If you liked it, please like and subscribe my channel. In the next video, we'll be seeing how you can create CI/CD pipeline to deploy your code directly from the Azure DevOps uh, to this Azure Data Factory. Okay, you can follow the same approach if to even integrate Data Factory with the GitHub Actions or Jenkins as well. That's it from this video. If you have any feedback or suggestions, please let me know in the comments. Thanks for watching.